Before you spend any money, if you're starting a business, I mean, this is one that really resonated with me and stuck with me throughout my whole entrepreneurial career. Before you spend any money, try to make a dollar. In some way, test the market. $1 is all it takes to know if you have maybe something. If you sell something for $1 before you start spending all your money on this business idea, then you're already in the profit. You kind of want to always be involved and aware of what is interesting and exciting to your potential customers.
Welcome back, everybody. A very exciting show as we move into the ordinal space and this ever-growing ecosystem on top of Bitcoin, L1 on-chain, which a lot of people are excited about. I'm here with one of the co-founders of Ordinal's Wallet, Randy, who is absolutely crushing it, and also one of the co-founders of Twitch, which was a social media platform on BSV that had a lot of traction for quite some time. For some reason, it's always been that, that unspoken kind of child in the room that is having a lot of success, but no one likes to talk about it because it has a tainted father that kind of dismisses everybody from talking about it. So I'm very excited to dive into it because I actually don't know much about Twitch outside of it being a social media platform that had a fuck ton of users at the time. But now you guys have taken those skills from BSV with big blocks and now have been able to use that to leverage and find a lot of success in the Ordinals ecosystem. So, Randy, first, pleasure to meet you, man. And thank you for taking your time to come over.
Yeah, good to meet you, Jake. Thanks for having me.
You guys are absolutely dominating it. Love it. Love the Twitter account and the personality that you guys have grown around it. I believe on your Twitter profile says that you're the branding. So I don't know if you're behind that or not. But for those who aren't aware of you, tell us a little bit about who Randy is. Like, we'll start with the basic. What got you into crypto and when was that?
Okay. Yeah, I got into crypto in 2017. It's a pretty long story. I was working in advertising as a graphic designer in New York City at the time. And I was taking a class in branding like on the side, like a night class. And I came up with this really cool logo that kind of went viral on Dribble, which was like the big design social network back in the day. They're like dead now, and it went crazy on Instagram, and it got picked up by a bunch of big logo Instagram pages. And it was this weasel. It was like a weasel, but it was designed with like Fibonacci, spirals and all this cool stuff. And like I did the guidelines and everything. It was pretty cool. And so I had this nice brand, and I wanted to make it into an app. It was a bad idea, but I called up this app software company called Celliflora, which was they made an app that I used. It was called Sleepy Time, and it would like help you wake up in the morning, like at the optimal sleep cycle time. And I just really loved the design. It was a really simple app, and I was like, oh, these guys could help me maybe. So I called them up through I hit them up via contact form on their website, and then I got a call, and on the other line was Elon Moist, my now business partner, Josh Petty, and he asked me if I'd ever heard of Bitcoin. This was in the summer of 2017. And I was like, no, I don't have time for that. I don't really feel like getting into anything new. I'm just getting started on this whole new skill set of like logo design and branding. And I was trying to get into product design. That was really I was in graphic design, which is like billboards and magazine ads and like a lot of layout stuff using InDesign, and I hated it. So, but it was a good opportunity to get started in design, but I really wanted to move into app and website design. So that's how I met Elon Moist. He asked me about Bitcoin, and then this was 2017. So Bitcoin was going from, I don't know what it was in January, but by July it was like pumping. And then obviously by December it went to 19K. So people from all over my life were asking me about Bitcoin because they knew I was like entrepreneurial. And so I was like, all right, a guy from growing up, like high school friend, asked me about Bitcoin, and this guy, Josh, who I was really impressed with Josh, and I wanted to work with him really bad. And he had asked me about Bitcoin, and then one of my buddies from college hit me up about Bitcoin. It's just like, oh God, like somebody's trying to tell me something. So I hit up Josh, and I was like, hey, like I got to get into this Bitcoin thing. I wrote like an essay about like my understanding of Bitcoin kind of as like Zen mind, universal consciousness almost. It's like, all transactions forever, all information forever on chain and forever stored in memory. So he hit me back and told me to join the crypto aquarium, and then told me to buy like $20 of BTC, Litecoin, and Ethereum. And that was kind of how I got started. I got in, I ended up buying like maybe a full Bitcoin by September. And then obviously by December, it was like $20,000. And during that time, I was like very active on the Telegrams. I had so much free time at work. So I was just spending all my work time, like, it's just basically like you're at work if you're on the computer, but I didn't actually have a lot of work to do for my job. So I was just tweeting, and I was like starting my Twitter brand. And I was doing all this stuff in the crypto aquarium. I was making logos for guys. Like, I don't know if you know Icebergy, who's like a big Ethereum influencer now, but back then he was just like one of our friends. I made the Iceberg, which is now like an NFT. He's got like so many honorary NFTs, but I made the original Iceberg, like avatar. And so I was making like avatars and logos for all these companies in the space. I did the cointracker.io. I think I did their logo. So I was just kind of getting involved. I was getting into all these entrepreneurial Telegram groups in 2017. And then I started building products. And so, yeah, that's how I got into Bitcoin. And that was kind of like my little journey.
I love it. Those who get in around 2017, that's the same when I got in, was like late 2016. It was just the beginning of the ICO boom. Bitcoin was about to head into the block space wars, which really, segmented the community. The price was 600, I believe, at January, and then it ended up at 19,000 at the end of the year. That was a crazy, crazy time.
Crazy year.
Yeah, and there really wasn't much to the space, right? The ICOs were just white papers. It was all kind of like vaporware, and it was more just about price and speculation. And as we move into August, I believe that was August when the fork happened, right? It was Bitcoin Cash and then Bitcoin, and moved into bigger blocks. And a lot of the community back then was just like really confused as to like what was going on. Why was everyone fighting over this idea of 1 megabyte blocks versus, I don't know what it was. I forget what the Bitcoin Cash was. Was it 4 or 8 or 10 or something like that?
I think it's 32.
32, yeah. And for those that are kind of like out of the mix, you don't really know when you're new, because as you mentioned about the individual that you had met that had talked about, transactions being universal, there is that segment of Bitcoin, which is kind of more of like the Maxi take now, of this like esoteric take on technology and life, right? That it's more the like libertarian kind of views, libertarian kind of like transcendence or transcendental type ideas. And it was a weird time. But I'm just curious, like, how did you end up into Bitcoin as a V? Because I was trying to explain the story. So Bitcoin Cash forked from Bitcoin. So it went from 1 megabyte, and then you had the fork, which was 32 megabytes. And then Craig Wright and Roger Ver, who was backing Bitcoin Cash, and you had Craig Wright, and Calvin Ayre, who were backing SV. They forked Bitcoin Cash, and then I think the block size, which you could probably have a better explanation, went up to like 1 terabyte or I don't know, something crazy. How did you end up moving into something like that was kind of tainted in terms of like a branding perspective? As a designer yourself, you kind of like would take that to heart of like, I don't want to touch that.
Yeah. Well, I was really I have no relationship with Roger Ver or Craig Wright or Calvin Ayre, any of those guys. I was really looking for opportunities to build products in the space. So when I got started, we built Pepe app, which was an early Ethereum decentralized application that did really well. And then I got an offer from Honey Miner. So I basically built and launched Honey Miner, which was you could download the software to your MacBook and mine Bitcoins from your MacBook. It would just pool all the GPU power from all like the leftover computers. That was essentially like the concept. And it was really big. It blew up. It went viral, and we were going crazy, and we did a really good job with Honey Miner. But Honey Miner kind of petered out, and the company sold, really, is what happened. And then they didn't really want us with the new company. So we kind of were looking for new opportunities, and we had already broken Ethereum a bunch of times, didn't scale. Like, we really just wanted like the blockchain to be like plumbing that just works. You flush your toilet and it goes away. We don't have to think about it. We just plug in and we can play, and it doesn't break every time that we get users. because we're very good at marketing. We're very good at branding. We've always had this amazing capability of capturing the market and obtaining usership of our products. And then ultimately we would always fall down because of the chain. So yeah, I was just kind of sick of it. And I just really wanted to build on Bitcoin the whole time. I didn't want to do Ethereum. And then I didn't want to do Solana once that came out either. And so, BSV, despite the fact that it's, founded by unlikable people like Craig Wright, it does scale and it does work. It's literally just, they took the original Bitcoin code, and they would just remove the block size limit. So when you do that, what happens is miners actually decide what the block size limit per block is based on market competition. So if there's 10 megabytes of information that needs to get mined in the next block, then that block size is 10 megabytes. And if it's 100 megabytes, then the next one is 100 megabytes, and it fluctuates. It's not like a capped or a steady, nobody decides what the block size is. And so I was really interested in that concept. And just generally Bitcoin that scales and that you can put data directly on chain. So obviously Ethereum, and this is why Ordinals was so right in our wheelhouse, is because Ethereum was never really that cool to me because I knew that the data wasn't immutable and on chain. And BSV was from the very beginning. So what you can do on Ordinals now, which is data on the Bitcoin blockchain, you can just put much larger files directly on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. So I wasn't really worried about I thought that the founders would just these guys would just go away, and we would kind of pick up the reins and be like, yo, look at all this cool shit that you can actually do with blockchain. You could put the whole internet on the blockchain, and then all of this stuff would be way more transparent. There would be a lot less corruption and a lot more trust in digital systems and in trade in general if we have Bitcoin at scale. Now, obviously, so Twetch was a success, by the way. Twetch is a social network on Bitcoin SV, which basically just means we use the blockchain as the data storage layer for the social network. So you can go and check it out, but you can just imagine, actually don't go check it out because it's down right now. We're moving the cluster.
Yeah, I pulled it up right here on the screen for those that are watching. But
yeah, it's not gonna, just don't because it's down. But so Twitch is like Twitter, except for when you post, you pay the miner fee to post, and then your data goes directly onto the blockchain. So it lives forever and you have data ownership. If your wallet address is associated with that piece of data, then you can prove ownership, and essentially you could sell it, or you could, whatever. It's like a collectible in itself. And Twitch was really a novel idea. It was really cool. If you give a like or a comment or a reply or a retweet on Twitch, it sends money directly peer-to-peer from me to you if I'm interacting with your content. And it's a micropayment. It's a very small payment. So here's a micropayment is another reason for Bitcoin to scale. You can send pennies to 1,000 people at the same time. It was just really a novel and interesting idea and another experiment. We've always been experimenting with blockchain technologies, and we wanted to work on Bitcoin the whole time, but it didn't let us put data on chain. So we just tried Bitcoin at scale. And I really consider BSV kind of like a test net for scalable Bitcoin anyway. It's like, oh, if we can do it with the original code, then we could just do it for real, and we could have peer-to-peer transactions across the planet for free, and they could be instant. So this is all really old stuff, by the way.
Hey, we're going through the history just as much, Randy. Yeah. Just as much. So okay, so you guys got into, I think BSV forked. It was either end of 2018 or beginning of 2019, sometime around then. You and everybody decide to go build on BSV. Kind of going against the grain of what I guess you would say pop culture of crypto is saying. And you decide, hey, we're going to take Twitter, which is where crypto culture lives. We're going to decentralize it and then go build on this and see really what we can do with a blockchain, really push it to the limits, per se. First, when you entered the space, or I guess entered Bitcoin SV, did you have any understanding of how to build on it, or maybe push up against some of the limitations that were there? Or was it really like you walked into this place and you're like, wow, I can't believe that nobody's building on this just because we have some asshole founders that everybody hates?
Yeah, when we joined, when we started Twitch, it was really like ground zero, with like a lot less development power that BTC and Ordinals has. So we just had to build all the protocols ourselves. Yeah, I mean, we built the NFT protocols. We were building a token protocol. We had built, there was a system called Paymail, which was a name resolver similar to DotSats is on Ordinals. Twitch itself was a protocol. Other websites could plug into our protocol and have micropayment likes, comments, retweets, replies, and all kinds of cool stuff. So
yeah, you can see
the original version of Twitch, the MVP of Twitch was actually just putting tweets on the blockchain. So you could just instead of having them on a centralized server, you could store them forever on chain. So it was just like an archiving mechanism. And there's so many really cool ideas that you can build when you have data on the blockchain, especially when it's scalable. So we were just excited about the possibilities of total freedom to build anything our creative minds could come up with. And it was a really exciting time for us. And we had enough success where we were, I was able to get this nice house and whatever else. I mean, Twitch is a successful business in its own right. And despite the fact that it was on BSV, which was our biggest hang up, and ultimately it was the reason why we had to leave or, start a new thing and start working on Ordinals. Ordinals was an experiment in the beginning, but now it's become like our main product. But yeah, the growth was the main hang up, and we weren't even aware that there was a level of growth in crypto that we're seeing now with Ordinals, which is amazing. It's just we had no idea how small we were and how successful we were and how hard we were working just to have the success that we had in such a tiny market compared to where we're at now, where it's just such a massive market. We can't even keep up with demand,
It's actually quite fascinating. And I didn't know this until somebody had pointed out probably a few weeks ago that I believe 3 of the 4 largest marketplaces in the ordinal space are actually built by BSV builders. OrdSwap was a BSV team. You guys were a BSV team. And I believe Unisat is a BSV team as well.
Mm-hmm. We used to play around with, so Unisat did Sensible, which was it was like an AMM, I guess. It was tokens on BSV, and then you could pool them and earn interest and stuff and stake them. It was basically DeFi for BSV. That's what Unisat had built prior to Unisat.
And when you think about it, it completely makes sense. There was an unlimited amount of block space. It's almost comparable, BSV, to just like price volatility. You'd have minor volatility because you didn't know how much could get plugged into the blocks at a time. But theoretically, you could put as much as you want. So just thinking about it, you could put literally games inside of it. And I'm sure people tested it to really see what it is. So when you move into a smaller...
We were going to put the whole internet. We were going to put the entire internet on the blockchain.
So when you move into a more compact space like Bitcoin with Taproot, right, and 4 megabytes, you already know pretty much what those limitations are and where it could go. And moving past Twitch, and when Taproot was passed and activated, I believe about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, did the Twitch team or anybody in the BSV community that you're communicating with realize that there was a possibility that you could take some of the products that you were building and apply it to Bitcoin?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, BSV is just Bitcoin code moved over to somewhere else. It's the same thing. They removed the block size limit. It's too bad that it had to have so much connection to these shady figures, but other than that, it's a very cool technology.
Yeah. And one last Twitch question would be: what was the maximum amount of users that Twitch held at one time? And then also, if you're comfortable saying, what was the revenue of something like Twitch?
Yeah, so we had total number of users signups was somewhere in around 120,000 people. So it's like it's much smaller than the total number of wallets created on ordinalswallet.com today. Number of users at one time, usually we would get a huge uptick during like a mint. We had NFTs. And if we were doing a mint, it was usually a pretty big deal. So maybe like 1,000 people on the website at one time, maybe up to 10,000. And yeah, revenue, I think, we were around 2 million in revenue, 12 months.
It's fantastic. It is completely incredible. I give you guys props for moving past the social norms to build on something that you believe was superior technology. This is something that hinders crypto consistently over time, is this, this idea of tribalism. And, maybe Calvin Ayre and Craig Wright are not good people. I actually do not think they're good people either. And that's what prevented me from moving over to it. But now looking back on it, retrospectively, you're like, yeah, dude, there's so much going on there. I'd probably be so much farther ahead if I would have just not been so, monotheistic for one blockchain and just actually kind of dabbled to where users were.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, the ethos of the Twitch community and remains to this day is that Bitcoin is the only blockchain that you will ever need. Now, if all we have to do is remove that block size limit to make it so that you can do everything you can do on every other chain faster and better and bigger than and that's all it takes, then fine. But no matter what happens, like Bitcoin is going to succeed and it's going to be the only blockchain. I mean, that's the one blockchain to rule them all. I mean, that's the ethos of our team. It remains to be to this day. I thought it back in 2017. It never changed. I mean, I was a big BTC guy. The reason why I got 30, 40,000 followers on my Twitter account in 2017 was because of how much I loved Bitcoin. And how I spoke about it from like a philosophical and futuristic perspective. And I had real insight and my own thoughts. And it was funny that everyone ended up calling me, a scammer and like a fork guy, because I'm a Bitcoiner. That's just what I am. And I'll always be that. And I don't care what anybody says.
Yep. It's very similar to ETH Maxis berating users for going and exploring other L1s. Which generally then go explore it and kind of bring those principles back to Ethereum. And so it sounds like kind of a similar situation. But at the beginning of...
Yeah, we did Ethereum too. We broke it twice or 3 times.
How so?
Too many transactions, and then it just would not work anymore.
I remember...
This was this was 2018, so it was just a whole different animal back then.
Yep, CryptoKitties. I mean, there was the infamous headline of CryptoKitties.
Just after CryptoKitties is when Pepe API came out.
Yeah, and actually the Pepe API's been explored by the historical NFT people. So I didn't even know you guys created that. That was kind of like where my background in NFTs comes from. But at the beginning of this year, the Ordinals explosion happened. You guys were very quick to the scene, and your name is Ordinals Wallet. And now looking at where we are in the present day, you guys are much more than a wallet. But at the time, you'd realized that Ordinals lacked a lot of infrastructure. And so you let in with what's needed, and generally what's needed in the very beginning is a wallet. It's the same thing. I work at Emblem Vault, and it's the same thing that people come to us for. It's very similar things is, hey, if we have these assets, they pop up first. We need to be able to store them or store and trade them. And you guys came in, and there was a lot of competition. I believe you guys were not in the leader in the beginning, but now are considered, maybe 1 or 2 in the space. At what point did you and the Ordinals team decide hey, we need to jump on this as soon as possible to take our skills from BSV and apply it over here, and that we can probably and likely dominate this market?
Yeah, so we have a hacker house here. This is where we're living. It's a big house, and we've got 3 developers that work from home, whatever else. So we were all here, and Josh, our CEO, Elon Moist, he came in and he was just happened to be visiting when Ordinals came out. So he was like, dude, check this out. You can put data on BTC now. And I immediately got the domain and the Twitter handle, and I went and spun up a card.co website that like took emails, and all of a sudden you've got ordinalswallet.com. That's a website that people can go, subscribe their email to, and a Twitter account with the same name. And everybody's searching ordinals, and we're the only thing that comes up because we're Ordinals Wallet. And I'm just like tweeting like crazy. I think we had, within like the first few days, we had 50,000 email signups. So
that's the branding and marketing that comes into play. It's a very smart move. So you guys came in, you led with the wallets. You secured a pretty firm community immediately. I mean, looking at it now, you have 90,000 followers on Twitter and have actually grown like an actual identity for the account. I don't know if you're tweeting it or whoever, but it's done done an exceedingly good job. You led with the wallet infrastructure. Wallet infrastructure started heating up. At that time, there was OrdSwap, I believe, was commanding an Ordinals market, who was using Emblem Vault to sell on Ethereum. What did you guys decide? When did you guys decide to then expand outside of the wallet and say, hey, this is a big pie that we could take multiple slices out of?
We were never going to be just a wallet. The play was always go into marketplace. There's a whole bunch of other plays that we've got in the back pocket from Twitch. I mean, this isn't even close to what this product is going to look like in the future. But yeah, we were always going to do markets. BRC20 was actually the real surprise. Didn't expect it to take off the way that it had. The protocol is hard to use. You have to like inscribe, I'm sure you know, but you have to inscribe in order to transfer. So like you have to first you have to inscribe the BRC20 mint, and then you get it in your wallet, but then you have to tell the chain that, hey, I want to change this from like a minted token to a transferable token. So you have to send it to the blockchain, get it back. So it's like a whole thing. So I didn't expect that play from Unisat, but it was awesome. And it took us into a whole new paradigm of volume and attention. So it was really great. And we just jumped right on that as well. I think at one point, right after BRC20 hit, Ordinals Wallet regained its status as like number one in volume for one day. And then it was too much and our website went down and stuff, and now the market's way down. But it was pretty cool to like be in that competition right as it came out on something that we didn't quite think was going to be the next big thing, but it was anyway. And we just were like, fuck it, let's go, BRC20. So that was fun.
Randy, dispel these rumors for me. Somebody had told me that you guys registered BRC20.com in like November or something of last year. Was that you guys that owns that? How did you manage to do that before it was created?
Well, I don't think that Domo expected us to have had this idea first for the name. I think if I was him, I wouldn't have named it BRC20 because I couldn't get BRC20.com. But we were building on Bitcoin SV, and we were building a token protocol. So we bought BRC20.com.
Absolutely fantastic. And one of your growth hack strategies that you guys used is the airdrop method. And you've used Pepe. Everyone loves Pepe's. Pepe's and punks are generally all the way down for whatever you need to do.
We've been doing Pepe for 10 years. Okay. We're the Pepe guys. We've always been the Pepe guys. I mean, Josh is a huge, rare Pepe collector. So like, Rare Pepes was one of when he showed me that, when I first got into crypto, when he showed me Rare Pepes, I was like, what? This is fucking cool. This is the coolest shit in Bitcoin. This is the coolest shit in crypto. And so I wanted to learn more and get involved more in NFTs after that. That was like the real collectible era of Bitcoin,
Yeah. I've had many of the Rare Pepe guys on here, from Joe to J-Dog, the devs to all of them. It's fantastic, and definitely need to, try to try to share the knowledge of that community, because they generally did everything first when it comes to NFTs. That's the famous X copy tweet where it's like, if you think you did something first, Rare Pepes probably did it. But the first airdrop that you guys had used was Pixel Pepes. And now the floor is sitting at 0.15. I believe it's one of the most valuable collections in the ordinal
I think if you
space.
click it, it'll tell you US dollar value.
Oh, wow. A lot of small features in here. I love that. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, so $4,284 is the current floor price. It's blown up like crazy, 1,563 assets. And now you've used it also as the token gated API key in a sense. So you're building different types of kind of like pulleys and levers within the whole ecosystem. Was that something that you guys had always planned for? Because it's obviously it's like about double or triple the Bitcoin Frogs floor price. But now you're adding utility on an ordinal, which is also something that hasn't really been done as well.
Yeah, we don't make plans. We're not big planners. We don't like plans. We don't do roadmaps. We don't believe in plans. If I have a flight, I'll buy it the day before. You know, that's kind of my whole attitude. And Josh is the same way, and we run the company. So that's just the way the company runs. So if we decide to do an airdrop, it might happen, you know, right then and there, or whatever the case may be. So no, we didn't. Sorry, what was the question about what we were planning for?
No, it's just like now you're adding utility to different types of ordinals, which hadn't really been done.
Yeah. So the API thing is really cool. So we built all these APIs, these indexers and APIs for ordinals, you know, to show inscriptions in wallets, the ability to index BRC20, the ability to index inscriptions themselves. And all the other .sats, all this other stuff. I think we've got a search API, we've got a ton of APIs. And we built them for ourselves, we built them for our customers. And everybody else needs access to them to build their products, or they have to build them themselves again. So instead of becoming a software as a service company where we would have to deal with B2B problems, like supporting, you know, our clients and stuff like that, which we've done. We have a lot of experience in B2B servicing clients. Honey Miner was a client of Josh and me, and it's just not the business that we want to be in. So instead of doing like a formal service where you pay, you know, month to month for our API access and we service you, we're just like, if you have a Pixel Pepe, you can get a key, and we're not going to make you any promises. So that was kind of the whole thought process. Like, what if we just gave it to people who own a Pixel Pepe? And then if you are building a product that you think is going to be profitable and you want access to the API, you can, and you don't have a Pixel Pepe, you can just buy one. So it's like good for the collection itself. It's obviously like our kind of, you know, and it's our Gua collection, you know, it's the number one in our hearts. So it's the perfect one to do for kind of these little things that we can offer the industry.
Yep.
You know,
highly touted as one of the top collections in the space. But now looking past Ordinal's wallet, there's two kind of, or three narratives going on at one time. And it reminds me a lot of this, like Ordinals is kind of speed running three narratives, and you might enjoy this. It's the 27 ICO mania, where people are just throwing Git books around instead of white papers. You have this like almost DeFi summer reminiscent experience that's happening on BRC20s, or at least people are attempting to do so. And then you have NFT mania with ordinals, and it's all kind of happening together on Bitcoin or on the King.
Dude,
right?
I bought a bunch of Jesus coin. I don't know if you like, so Pepe went crazy. And so we were like, what's the next meme coin? And Josh was like, check this out, Jesus. And I was like, oh, we gotta get Jesus. So I bought a bunch of Jesus, and it's up like, I sold a bunch of it today. I couldn't believe the price increase. It was like, I think it 10x. Yeah, it 10x. And it was like a week ago that we were just messing around on Uniswap. So it's really fun to be back in like the mainstream crypto ecosystem, because we really thrive in this environment. And so, you know, the Jesus coin thing, the Pepe coin thing, those were fun too. And it had nothing to do with ordinals at all. So
yeah, being spontaneous is a skill in crypto because it moves so fast. looking in and narrowing, BRC20 is the hot thing, right? You guys are also dabbling in it, and now you're kind of competing for market share with Unisat, as Unisat was the first one to market. What's your thought, or maybe even just like the team's general thoughts around BRC20s? Is it just something that's going to forever be a meme coin, or is there potential there to actually build something of a DeFi ecosystem through ordinals?
Yeah, well, people are getting real creative. I think there's definitely going to be a DeFi ecosystem around BRC20. I think BRC20 itself, like, it would be great if I could just use it like a token itself. So like if I could issue an ordinals wallet token, for example, and then you could get, if you use the token just like on Binance, if you use the token on our website, you get 50% off fees or no fees, whatever the thing is. Like, it's a concept. That would be great, but it's just not the case. So you have to figure out workarounds. Like, how can I still reward my users? So like people are basically treating them like NFTs. If you hold token X and then you stake it, you can earn interest and whatever else, or you get rewards or airdrops or whatever the case may be. So we'll see, but I definitely think people in general, the people in the ordinals space, they're really interested in like practical use cases of the systems that they build. So it's not so much like, there's a lot of memes and meme coins, but the stuff that people are like really interested in is like tangible, real products and protocols and like practical things that you can do to earn more money or get involved in an ecosystem. So it's a much more honest so far like place to be than I've ever seen in crypto, besides BSV, to be honest, but like, I don't want to go there. But it's really nice. I mean, I like to think that we've actually played a big part in the culture of ordinals and like, show me, don't tell me kind of vibe that everybody's got. Like, if you're out here building shit, like that's the coolest thing you can be doing right now, is like building stuff and thinking of creative use cases for BRC20s and for your NFTs and doing all these airdrops and using the chain and filling it up. And, like I think there was a token that minted yesterday that did an entire block was of the mint of that token. It's like all kinds of new things that you've never seen in Bitcoin are finally happening. And yeah, we're definitely going to start to see real creative use cases of all of this stuff, because the stuff that doesn't have a use case, it's going to go away. I mean, that's the way that it is on Ethereum too. It might have a longer life cycle over there, but like it's really cool to be in this like more honest, more practical, like digital community and ecosystem.
It feels fun. I was a big Bitcoin guy for a while, and then moved over to Ethereum around 2019 or so. Just really dabbling in the DeFi and NFTs, and it feels almost like home, like it's a homestead almost, coming back and building. I experimented, launched my own Dogecoin on BRC20 like a few weeks ago, just for fun, and minted out in like 4 hours. I was like, what the fuck?
That's like, this too, right?
Yeah, it did for a little while. Yeah. So now I'm like going through this thought cycle of like, what can you actually do with it? And so I started. I've been thinking, and this is just like a little side tangent, but me and a team, I've been working on trying to build like an AMM kind of thing for it, called the BB, Bitcoin backed AMM. But man, this technology is hard. It's simple. You try to like talk with Domo, and him and Unisats, they're trying to like decentralize their indexers through different types of people. And they're like, they want to keep it simple. Other people want to build their own standard on top of it. I know you guys built your own indexer for it as well. How tough is it to manage an indexer? There's a lot of interest around centralized indexer versus the decentralized indexer. Is it bad for the space? I know you're not specifically on the tech side, but from your thoughts, like what is your opinion of this whole indexers that kind of govern these BRC20 protocols?
I mean, like, look, what is an indexer? It's just a way of organizing blockchain data under a set of rules that are agreed upon by the community and the protocol, right? So first of all, these indexers are extremely hard to build because the blockchain is huge and you've got to get all the information from the very beginning and then keep it updated at all times. As far as the decentralized versus centralized, I don't care. I think keep pushing it forward. If you guys are building a decentralized indexer that I can plug into, fuck yeah, I would love that. I don't want to have to deal with that stuff. We don't want to have to constantly be building infrastructure. We want to build cool stuff on our website that our customers can use. So no, we don't want to be building plumbing. All the technical stuff, if everybody else would build all that stuff, we would use it. So yeah, my take on decentralized indexer would be, let's go, get it done, make it work 100% of the time, because that's the real problem is like, it's almost more, in some ways it's almost more decentralized if not everyone is using the same indexer, right? Mm-hmm. Because if their data gets out of sync, our data can still be in sync. And then they'll catch up and, they'll come back, similar to the chain itself. So yeah, I don't know. We built our own. It's working great now. We have a ton of warnings on our website currently for BRC20 just to be like, hey, make sure you check everybody else's indexer too, because this is new technology and it could be wrong. But it's been smooth and it's been good and it's been right. So hopefully, we can start to phase those warnings, and we can also start to plug into other indexers to double check and triple check automatically. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we don't want to be building the stuff I want to build stuff that everybody can see and touch and feel and use. And everything else that we have to build behind the scenes is just, it's not fun and it's not exciting and it doesn't get us more customers. It doesn't bring revenue into the door until we release something along with it that people can touch and feel. So yeah, I mean, as far as the behind the scenes, like deeper technical problems, like if they can get solved outside of my organization, that's better for me.
Scaling is very tough in this space. I've learned that through the last 7 months at Emblem, and just, being a participant for so many years. The plumbing is something that I had just learned about quite recently. But speaking of like behind the scenes, consistently what I see on Twitter is a lot of positive feedback for Ordinal's wallet, and the fun that you guys can also poke fun at yourself is pretty cool as well, about the website going down and just being kind of playful. Everyone's consistently saying Ordinal's wallet is hustling, they're building. It seems like you guys never turn off at any point in time. What is it like behind the scenes of the Ordinal's wallet team? Is there any rest? Is it chaotic as people say, as people think? What is going on back there?
No, we like to work, and we work around the clock. We work out in the garage. We like to go swimming, but we take 20-minute breaks. And then we're back at it. There's no time off. There's no nights. You don't get to have your nights. You go to work. You go to work from 8 a.m. until we work out sometime in the afternoon. And then we might work out and then swim. So you get like an hour or two, and eat. So maybe an hour or three, In the meantime, I'm still tweeting, I'm on Spaces, we're just still working. And then from after dinner till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, I mean, all the LED lights are on, the room is dark, and all you hear is keys slapping. That's what it's like over here.
It all comes down to the vibes of building. And the fact that you guys are central to all living in the same house, or at least most of it, is unlike how crypto exists currently, as this decentralized and digitally native world where people are living, across the country or across the world at some points.
It's a huge leg up for us. We've been remote. I've been trying to build this company, that as it is now for 7-10 years. We've been remote for that whole time. So to finally have come together, it's a good thing.
That is, very, very fantastic. It's how you build culture. And on Bitcoin, the culture seems like it's changing a little bit. I don't know if you listen to any of the Bitcoin Maxi, spaces, or some of the talks from Bitcoin Miami, with Udi and Eric talking about.
I did.
Bitcoin.
So Josh was in Bitcoin Miami. And so we had a Thinky Thursday. So Ordinal's Wallet runs a Twitter space on Thursdays. Mm-hmm. It's called Thinky Thursday. This Thinky Thursday, we were giving out NFTs to speakers. So we had 2 to 5,000 people, and it was the biggest space we ever did. And during that space, I asked the guys on stage that were at Bitcoin Miami, was there anything interesting at this conference other than ordinals? Because it seems like they're getting a lot of backlash for having allowed ordinals to come, which is hilarious because it's the only cool shit that's going on there. And everyone was like, no, it's not even close. If it wasn't ordinals, it was literally ordinals Miami. Like they were like, everything that wasn't ordinals was snooze fest. So
what's your take on the cultural renaissance? I was just having this conversation earlier with my teammate Adam McBride about.
I mean, anyone who in their right mind would even say that, like the word, listen to the words, the language that you just used, this cultural renaissance. Like whoever thinks that's bad is like a dungeon dwelling, like old man, like get off my lawn kind of vibe. It's a renaissance. This is amazing. And it's the most beautiful thing that ever happened in crypto ever, period.
Yeah, it's maxis are trying to play the groundwork right at the equivalent of like a conference, but online through Twitter where crypto is born. It seems like they're just getting completely washed out from everything, and slowly.
I haven't even heard from these guys in a while. So right in the beginning of Ordinals, like when Ordinals Wallet was like either first came out or was about to come out, I was on a space. One of the first spaces I ever was on with Trevor and those guys, and they let out this BTC Maxi like anonymous guy come up, and he was like, "How does it feel to like be a total loser?" Like. He was like talking like that. And like, you would ask him a question, like we were having like legitimate intellectual, like open conversation as they are now, as they all are now. It's like really, you're starting to see real conversations like that have real reason and logic behind them. And then every time those guys up, they have no reason and logic. And so you can't even talk to them. It's like, do you suck dick? Like this is the kind of comments, they don't have anything to add or even bring to the table there. Yeah, it just seems like they're just haters, man. I have no idea. I haven't heard from them in a long time. They're totally washed out, as you said.
How does Ordinal's wallet respond to criticism, or maybe just not even criticism? Let me take that back. How does Ordinal's wallet respond to the amount of demand of complaints or technical questions? Right, it's a very new technology. Things are breaking consistently. People are afraid they're losing their money, or they just simply don't know how to use a transfer inscription to send something. How does Ordinal's wallet manage all of this?
Well, we manage it by receiving all of the criticism and feedback that we get, and then creating interfaces that make it less likely to come up again. Ultimately, we care about our customers. We take user feedback very seriously. As far as criticism goes, it depends on the criticism itself. We're not going to back down from anybody, but if you're right, you're right. And I don't care about the tone that you use to tell me it. I mean, if you tell it to me like an asshole, I might ignore you for a day and then make it hurt a little bit, but in general, it's like, if the feedback is right, it doesn't really matter how you say it. It's that you're right. And so instead of just like trying to start fights all the time on Twitter, which, we've been there, we've been through it. We've been building businesses in crypto and like Twitter-based businesses for a really long time, 7 years now. So, we're just so good at it now. It's like, oh, you're totally right. Thank you for the feedback. Let me see what we can do about this. And we've had problems. We've issued refunds to customers that our APIs got out of sync or something. Things, were all over the place in the beginning. It was so bad, like, because people would send in their Sparrow inscriptions to Ordinal's wallet, but they would all be stuck in the same UTXO, and nobody even knows what a UTXO is. So like, what does this mean? What are we doing here? So it's still a struggle, but we just did release an update to the wallet page that gives you information about UTXOs, how many UTXOs you have, how to get more. And it also gives you information about incoming transactions. And, we're just giving people as much information as we possibly can and educating them through the experience as much as we possibly can. Like, creating a transfer inscription on our website is a lot easier than anywhere else. And so that's our MO, is like, oh, here's a complaint. Let's fix it on the website. And then like 1,000 people that had the same complaint now have a solution And we try to keep up with individual customer support as much as we possibly can as well. We hired support that, so we're doing our best.
Yeah, you guys are crushing it. I spend way too much time in Discord answering questions. It's a big pain in the ass. Luckily, AI exists now, so over time you can eventually just kind of build that out to answer questions for itself. The only hard part is that crypto, everything's changing so fast that sometimes even AI might not even be able to keep up if it doesn't have live updates for it.
Right. It would have to be like self-taught, almost like, oh, it knows that an update just went to the website and it goes and tests it. And then it like lets you know what is good about it, what's bad about it. And like, then it's able to like respond. I mean, that would save us a lot of money. Yeah.
money and time, right? And time is a little bit more valuable. But now looking, we're in this present day. You guys are growing. You guys are absolutely crushing it. What is Ordinal's focus, or Ordinal's Wallet's focus now? Without leaving too much on the table, if you're not comfortable saying, because you're probably working on a bunch of things behind the scene. Like, what is the legitimate focus now for Ordinal's Wallet?
Well, we're still kind of behind the market. Our focus is going to be on getting BRC20 to a place where it's like running 100% all the time. It's double checking against other indexers. So that's a huge thing. We want to get our sats. So our sats name, so like Ordinal's Wallet started as an explorer, essentially. So we just have all the inscriptions that are in Ordinals on our website. So sat names, whether they were like counted as part of the sat name index or not, it doesn't matter. It's just a sat name on our website, and we have no checkers for that. So we have to get, sats names and any other BNS or whatever you want to call it, names to be indexed and correct and properly part of the protocol, so that if you can't buy a duplicate or something like that. So it's like all of this data and information that we're getting from the chain, it has to be properly organized and always be 100% for the customer. That way, when we present it to the customer, we know and have confidence, and they can have confidence. So ultimately, we just really want to like stay in tune and catch up with all of the things that are constantly happening and changing, and it's not easy. So we're also really excited about gaming. So we just released 2 games on our website. If you go to the BTC Machines collection or the Based Apes NFT collection, these are NFT projects like a Bored Ape that have created games associated with their NFT projects, and now you can play them directly on ordinalswallet.com. And we're really excited to be coming out with an arcade on our website. So like, if you're in between mints, or you just bought an NFT, or you're just hanging out, you can just hang out on ordinalswallet.com. And ultimately, that's what we want. We want this to be like more than just a wallet or a marketplace, but a place where people go to hang out and have a good time, beyond just buying and selling stuff.
I don't think I've ever heard any marketplace or protocol that I've had on here say that they just want it to be a hangout and not just a use case. That's very, very forward thinking. Do you think gaming in ordinals is kind of the next wave then, once we push past this BRC20?
So as soon as we like get this right, it's going to be fucking huge, because there's actually way more games on ordinals than you think. So I hold on, because I'm going to find something for you that you can show on the live stream. But I think if you search games, just the word games on ordinalswallet.com, if you click on search at the top, and you go to this collection called Ordinal Games, there's already an NFT collection with, let me just see what the number is. It's 51 video games that people just inscribe to Bitcoin that have nothing to do. You can't play them right now on our website, which is what we're getting to. But it's 51 video games that are already on Bitcoin. So like, this is like already there. This is like such low hanging fruit ultimately. Ordinal Games, the top one, I think that's the one I'm looking at. Yeah. And so it just shows HTML. This is a security thing for us. People, if you could plug in HTML to our website, it's dangerous because we're also a wallet. But if you look at these, I think on ord.io, you can actually play them. And so we're going to make it so you can actually play them on our website as well. And so if you search Go search BTC machines.
Oh, I
Or
played
just
their
make
I
the word
played their
machines.
game recently.
Oh, you played
actually.
it.
BTC. Oh, oops. BTC machine. Yeah. Are they the one that just did the Zbit token, I think?
Yeah. So if you click on launch game, that game is hosted on our website now.
What?
So we have
I did not know this. Wow.
Yeah. So we have off-chain games and we have on-chain games that we can tap into for this arcade thing. And it's really cool. And we've got a lot of other ideas that, just like, why not? Why not make this like the coolest website on the internet?
I
Why
love
stop at OpenSea?
I love that idea of Ordinal's Wallet being like a lounge for people to hang out at. You could probably put chat rooms and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think ultimately we may have to rebrand, because like to become like like Twitter or Google, those are like themselves names. Whereas Ordinal's Wallet is more like a capture this niche group of this niche market. We'll see. I don't know what it's going to become. I just know that we're always constantly like anything that we're excited about, we can build it. So that's always fun,
Hey, shipper is going to ship. Is it tough to integrate things like this? These like new emerging kind of ordinal protocols? Does the team go out and find them, or do you have people reach out and with these type of like intricate requests to add into?
We're so like in tune with the market, especially through Twitter. Like we're kind of like in the center of the network, if not the center. So if something new comes out, we know about it like within a minute of it being released on, because it gets released on Twitter, anyway, and we're there all the time. So excuse me. I think it's a matter of picking and choosing because of the lack of, resources. If we had 100 developers, we could probably put them all to work, which is pretty cool. But we don't have that. And so we have to decide what we're going to focus on. And in some cases, like BRC20, the next big thing was chosen for us. But in other cases, like for example, stamps, if we went full steam ahead with stamps, I think they would become the next big thing. So like there's a balance between following the market and leading the market. And it's just a matter of resources. Stamps is a whole another beast. It's just not ordinals. It's a different thing. And so in order to integrate it, Harry just told me it's like at least 2 weeks dev time. You want to do that? And it's like, God, we can't afford it,
Makes sense. I actually just had Mike on the show, and his episode did exceedingly well, and they've been dabbling with SRC20, and they're actually kind of going through their own cultural war with Counterparty at this moment. So one of them, there might end up being a fork at some point in time. So maybe we'll get Stamp Party or something like this, or Counterparty goes and gets
a Counterparty fork.
There's debate
because of stamps.
That they're upset with SRC20. Some of the Counterparty community members and devs because it's spamming the network. It's kind of similar Bitcoin OG takes, I guess, in essence. But we'll see, right? If sometimes if a split happens, sometimes it could be mutually beneficial, right? That's how you ended up at Bitcoin SV, which built the skills to come and bring it back home to the king and build out this wonderful product out here in the ordinal world that's accelerating so fast.
Yeah, but that whole narrative, like spamming the network, shut the fuck up, dude. You don't tell me what I can and can't do with the blockchain. That's just like, that's ridiculous. That's like we're talking about centralized shit.
Yep.
Don't tell me what I can. I should be able to do whatever I want. And honestly, it should be faster and cheaper. It should be better, not worse, because of more usage. So I don't know. I hate people who just like, because they're not even saying anything. It's like, what do you mean? I'm using the blockchain. I'm using it. You're not.
Yeah, censorship's it's a tough road to go down, especially when they have a leadership position in it. But speculants, if we speculate on some of the other emerging technologies, have you guys ever looked into things like Litecoin ordinals? Is that something of interest? I know it's a different chain.
Jack, our friend Jack from OrdSwap is really bullish on Dogecoin related stuff. He thinks that's going to be the next big thing. And I told him, he was like, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know, do it. If it's the next big thing, it will be, and then we'll follow along. It's like, I'm not I'm not going to speculate. I think it would be big if we integrated it. I think every time it's just a matter of like the actual product creators issuing integrations that creates market demand and attention. So it's kind of like a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a catch-22. It's like, if you do it, it'll be big, but if you don't do it, it won't be. So
it's that, you know, there's a tagline for it. It's called "Meme it into existence" or "Meme it into reality."
Right.
It's kind of along those lines. I've dabbled down both of those roads.
Something to click on. You know, if I were to give people something to click on that was Dogecoin related, Dogecoin ordinals, Dogecoin tokens, I'm sure it would be fun and big for a moment, and it would have its moment. No question about it. I'm excited about Sats names. I think dot names in general on BTC is going to be the next big ordinals thing. So we're working on integrations with that right now. We're working on these games, and we're working on getting our BRC20 up to snuff. And the market's way down. Hopefully, you know, we'll see what the next wave is going to be, because it seems like everything, like the NFTs narrative kind of played it's happening so fast, dude. It's like a month of NFTs, and then it was like whoosh, we got the BRCs. And then whoosh, it'll be something else, you know, and we'll just be as quick as we can to integrate, you know.
It's because Bitcoin's been around for a while. The culture knows. As we close this out here, for those that are listening, most people have interacted with Ordinals Wallet. What type of advice would you give out there to maybe some of the builders of how did you get in your position, or like what would you kind of just tell them? I
would say before you spend any money, if you're starting a business, I mean, this is one that really resonated with me and stuck with me throughout my whole entrepreneurial career. It's like, before you spend any money, try to make $1 or test out in some way, test the market. $1 is all it takes to know if you have maybe something, you know, but it's because if you sell something for $1 before you start spending all your money on this business idea, then you're already in the profit. And it's like, kind of stay, you know, you kind of want to always be involved and aware of what is interesting and exciting to your potential customers. And so it's like, I'm constantly throwing ideas out. I actually replied to Elon Musk, and it like went kind of viral because he had a Neuralink thing that went out. And I was like, bro, why don't you just make like ChatGPT AI in my earpiece instead of like, you know, drilling into my brain? You know, I can remove it, but I can still use it as like an extremely useful tool. And it went kind of viral, and someone was like, well, why are you giving away your ideas for free? Well, one, if somebody builds it, then it makes my life better, number one. But number two, if nobody builds it, then I'll just do it eventually. I mean, I'm not going to do it right now, but I will eventually get to it. So it's like, either it's a win-win scenario for me it's like, I hate idea hoarders. I'm not an idea hoarder. I always test everything, put it out there, see what people think, put it out there, see what people think. And I'm always like, yeah, go ahead, build it if you think you can build it. You know what I mean? But I don't think you can. And I don't think you'll do it better than me if you want to compete. And that's just like it's such like a fundamental kind of attitude to be having in business at all times. And it's worked out really well for me. And the other thing I would say is just have some confidence in yourself. If you're building something, but you're afraid to put it out there, that's all in your head. Just push and push and push harder, and be confident in the things that you do, and back it up, and always be willing to like support it and be that person behind it. You know, don't just like throw the football and like run away, you know?
Paradigms are changing in the world of entrepreneurship, which is now kind of just been called creators in the world of Web3. Just as we open source code in crypto, open sourcing ideas is a principle that many should abide by. And you'll be able to sort through those shitty ones just a lot faster to get to the good ones. So, dude, Randy, absolutely fantastic conversation. I have a lot more admiration even for Ordinals Wallet, even though, you know, I use it almost every day or every other day. You guys have a fantastic product, and I'm very confident you guys are going to go very far in this space. So appreciate your service for it, and also for coming on the show and sharing your time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I look forward to pumping this to all our followers.
Let's go. Thank you guys for listening and watching. We'll catch you next time.